Hi there, welcome back to the YouTube channel. Please, if you haven't been here before, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, let me know what you think of this deck when we get to the end of the video. So, with the preliminaries done, let's get on with it. So, MTG Mum of March of the Machine Aftermath has hit MTGO. And as I record this video, there's a few issues. You can't actually open any of the boosters you may have picked up on MTGO. There seems to be some bug. We're waiting for an update from Daybreak Games on when it's going to be resolved. But luckily, I did pick some boosters up the other night before this all happened. I got a few of the key cards. I will be honest, I did open 2 Obnixiluses and I really couldn't work out what to do with them, and they were going for so many tickets on MTGO that I basically sold them straight away to build some more decks, which is what I'm doing. But one of the other legends I opened in the boosters I picked up was this one today, which is Arni Metalbrow. 2 in a red for a 3/3 legendary creature human berserker. And whenever a creature you control attacks or a creature enters the battlefield under your control attacking, you may pay 1 and a red. If you do, put another creature card into the battlefield that's tapped and attacking, and Arni triggers again, and again, and again, and again. Why is this good? Well, you're getting creatures in play for a lot cheaper than what some of the mana values cost, and it's actually really good. I built this on stream on, well, the last stream, Thursday night, and we built it on the fly, and I tried it all out, and I won. I played it again in the following stream, and I won again. I found a few issues with it, and I've tried to correct them with the deck tech today. So if you saw the streams, the deck's going to be slightly different to what you watched, but anyway, this is what today's deck looks like. Start, as I always do, with the mana base. There's nothing too fancy in this. Command Tower, Dwarven Mine, a whole load of mountains, as you can see. But a couple of cards we need to be aware of. We've got Sinusku, the Crucible of Defiance here, because occasionally you do need a couple of spirit tokens to block with. Valakut's here. There's absolutely, with the amount of mountains I have in this deck, there was absolutely no reason not to play Valakut. So, hey, Valakut came in. The other one I want to point out is the Hanwha Battlements. Now, I've got both sides of Hanwha here. I'm not trying to meld them together. If it goes off, fine, okay, we get a nice big 7/4 attacker and get a couple of 3/2s, fine. We're not trying to do that. What we've got Hanwha in here is a nice way of giving creatures haste, and it's also, if you get the garrison on the go, which I'll talk about in a little while, the tapping gets the tokens. You can trigger things. We're not going to get anything of it, but it's just more creatures, and it's really confusing. And the best bit is you can put the Hanwha garrison in off Arni's trigger when it happens. So bear that in mind. The rest of the ramp is pretty much what I'm now becoming to see as my standard ramp package. Mox Tantalite, Soul Talisman, Soul Ring, Thought Vessels here. I went with the Firemine Diamond over the Arcane Signet for this deck because you only want red mana. You don't need all the other colours of mana for this deck. Thought Vessel, just to, we do get people bouncing stuff, and having the ability not to have a maximum hand size is quite useful. So that's why Thought Vessel's here. And this time I've also included Jeweled Lotus because a turn 1 Arni or turn 2 Arni is just great. So bear in mind. Obviously, the cost of this deck is quite high monetary value. It is sitting currently at $479.34 in monetary value, or 38.17 tickets. Now, there are ways of making it cheaper. You can drop some of the cards, like, Dockside Extortionist has gone back up to $60, so that can come out. That takes it down at $400. There's Jeskai's Will in the deck, which I'll go through. Porphyros, God of the Forge, Terror of the Peaks, Ancient Copper Dragon, Fiendish Duo, Fiery Emancipation, and Jeweled Lotus. So you drop all them out, you're looking at a reasonable priced deck. A deck still will work just as well without them, but you need to just replace them with equivalent cards if you wanted to. So that's the monetary side taken care of, and I've mentioned some of the cards in the deck now. So, Wheel of Fate's here. This is a bit of a change to the original deck I played on stream, because one of the things I worked out was you do empty your hand really quickly with Arni in play, and you are stuck a lot of the time playing off the top of your deck. So dumping your hand and then drawing 7 new cards to give you hopefully 7 more creatures that you can put into play with Arni on the cheap is really very useful. Beamtown Beat Sticks here, just because we want some treasures occasionally, and giving one of your creatures menace is really what it's here for. It's 2 to equip, yes, and you get steel damage, you get a treasure token, which is a bonus. but it's really the menace. The +1 plus nothing may not as well be there. You know, I'd be quite happy to play a piece of equipment that said 1 red, equip for 1, gives creature menace. The end. But it's here and it works. Dragon Master Outcast, we do get to 6 lands quite easily, believe it or not, and you might as well just have this sitting here to get those dragons in play. Yes, we're only playing 35 lands in this deck, and I haven't got Nykthos Shrine to Nyx in here. That is a card you could put in if you wanted to, but I decided against it because we just don't need it. Faithless Looting gives a bit of the card draw I was talking about that was lacking in the original build from the other night. Lightning Bolt for a little bit of targeted damage, and it works really well with some of the cards we've got coming up, so bear that in mind. And Elixir of Immortality, another one of the cards that you see in most of my decks nowadays. Mainly because whenever I seem to end up playing against a lot of mill decks, and I do like making sure I can still do the stuff I want to do. So, 2 drops. This is where it gets a bit more heavy. Bloodmark Mental's really good. Red creatures you control have first strike. Oh, sorry, just falling off my chair. And everything obviously is red, so that works beautifully. Dockside I've already mentioned. It's a red deck, you're going to see it. Felden, Runum Excavator is also here. Purely because it's a 2/2 for haste, it can't block, and occasionally they do deal damage to it. You get to exile those cards, and you get to play them until your next turn. Well, the card you pick anyway, which does have its advantages. Goblin Crater Maker, just to do a little bit of sacrificing to deal 2 damage or blow up a colourless non-land permanent, can be helpful. Instigator, when it comes into play, leaves another token behind that's not attacking, so you do get a blocker. Humbled Defector, because we need to draw cards. Yes, we have to give it away, but you know, you give it to someone, they usually give it back to you if you're lucky. Lightning Strike is just to back up the Lightning Bolt. Again, I'll show why in a minute. Robber of the Rich, reach, haste, nick someone's card. When it deals damage, you can play it. I've nicked some interesting stuff. Battle Rage, just to give something double strike, just to get through those final points that we need it. Another addition, Tormenting Voice, just to get the card draw. We don't mean discarding something that's a bit useless at some stage. And Goblin War Driver, just for the Battle Cry ability. These are the slight changes I made to the deck. Briggy's here because, you know, we're casting spells. We can add red mana. We don't lose this mana as steps and phases end. And, you know, not really bad about the boast ability, to be perfectly honest, but you know, or you know, discard a card, exile the top 2 cards, and do the whole Horn of Bounty thing. Another way of making sure you always got stuff to cast. Captain Lannery Storm, Treasure Generator, Chaos Warp, get rid of the most annoying thing. Although I did cast this on one of my creatures when I was playing the other night to save it from Palace Jailer, I think it was, and I didn't get anything great of it, but I got another land which really did help me in the long run. So don't forget you can target your own things as well just to save them. The Garrison I've already mentioned, love it. It's great to get it in off Arni. The Battle, again, I just put it in just so we had a little bit of way, maybe punching through for that last 4 damage. Again, we have got ways of making this bigger, which I will come to. And having the Disciples of the Inferno, if we can get it flipped, just for the prowess bit, is actually quite nice. So, you know, can't complain too much. Jessicai's Will I've mentioned, card draw, mana ramp, etc. Lival, Cultist of Tiamat is also here. We do have a few non-creature spells in the deck, and having this in play to give something a pump occasionally can be helpful. Professional Facebreaker has Menace, so when you put it into play, hopefully off Arni, that'll be hard for someone to block, and you get that nice treasure tokens from all the creatures that get through. Likewise, Sin Prodder was another way I put in of drawing cards. People will probably pay the life, so they take the damage that goes to your graveyard, that's fine, or they give you the card, so yeah, their choice is theirs. Squeak is purely here because we can cast it from anywhere. It gives us a token which is no use whatsoever when Arnie's in play, but you know, Squeak coming in, doing the attacking thing, giving us another blocker, that's okay, I can cope with it. Annex the Hardened in the Forge is also here. When it dies, another creature you control dies, you get that Sator creature. Yes, they can't block, but you still got creatures which you can ping things off to. Chandra, Fire of Kaladesh. Yeah, I like Chandra. This is one of my more, you know, I'm getting into the older style Planeswalkers that did the flip thing. And I want to try Chandra out here. I haven't played it in a lot of decks, so it hit this deck. And then Hammer of Porphyros, just to make sure we can attack as soon as we play something. Briggy's here as well, which I've already mentioned. I've already talked about this page. Sorry, big score. That's where I meant to be. Bit more card draw, bit of treasure token, fantastic. Porphyros, because why wouldn't you put it into play and play it just to get the pings in as you come, or the shocks in as you go along to your opponents. Atushi, the Blazing Sky, gives us some treasure, or we can exile the top 2 cards, which is, again, nice. Chain Reaction to control the board, along with Blasphemous Act, which I expect to see in all my red decks now. And Chandra, Torch of Defiance, just gives a bit of a mana bump. I mean, like I say, we are running 35, so the +1 for the 2 red mana does help occasionally. Or if you need to deal with something so you can get through with your attackers, the 4 damage isn't bad either. If we can get to the 7 and do the whole, whenever you cast a spell, this emblem deals 5 damage to any target, you're winning the game at that stage. It shouldn't be an issue. Hellrider's also here. Whenever a creature you control attacks, it deals 1 damage to the player or planeswalker it's attacking, so it's another way of punching through those last bit of damage, but it's not combat damage, which is important in a second. Hero of Oxid Ridge is just so we can get the battle cry again. It's got haste, it's a 4/2, and it gets through all the little 1/1s that may be kicking around. Koth is rapidly becoming one of my favourites red planeswalkers ever. Going to fetch such in that mountain out, and then eventually doing the equivalent of our wonderful one down here. Wherever it's gone, Valakut, because I've forgotten the name of it as I'm talking, is really nice. You're never going to get -7 with this, but the +2 to get a land, and if you've got Valakut in play, make sure you get that 3 damage in. Can't complain. And this is the reason we have things like Hellrider, we have Valakut, we have Koth in the deck. Solfim, Mayhem Dominus. One of the things I've learned with this deck, and like I said, I've only played it a few times, getting to double damage, whether it's non-combat damage or any damage at all in this deck, is key to winning. And my giddy aunt does it go off well when it happens. Torath, God of Fury, is also here for the excess damage. It deals... Torath deals damage to the excess of to any target other than that permanent. So again, it's not combat damage, I don't think. I haven't got Torath in play yet, but if I'm right in thinking it's a different form of damage, so it will trigger Soulfine because it's non-combat, I think, but I may be corrected. Feel free to correct me in the comments. Unexpected Windfall's also here. Again, it's another card I've added in so I get some card draw. Zariel, Archduke of Everus, is also here to pump all our team up or create a devil if we need to. Again, the devil dies with Sophom in play. We get to shock something, and some of the other things make it even worse, like, you know, Torbrand's here. Devils become potentially 4-point damage spells. Can't complain. Solemn Sim, bit of ramp, card draw, you know the score, Solemn Sim. Court of Ears also in. This is definitely non-combat damage. Deals 2 damage to any target. If we're the Monarch, it deals 7 damage instead. With Solfin, it's 4 or 14 at minimum. Rona, the Fire Dancer, just so we can have some extra copies of some of the creatures we've got coming into play. Another reason to have it here. Terror of the Peaks. I like Terror of the Peaks. It's going to be turning up more and more and more in my red decks, I'm sorry to say. This thing is amazing. With Sophom in play, you play a creature, you double the damage it takes. Instantly, but it gets even better than that. Volatile Arsonist is here. It attacks, it deals up to 1 damage to up to each of 1 target creature, up to 1 target and player, and or up to 1 target planeswalker. With any of the damage doubling spells in, that goes up higher, which is lovely. Mirror March, just to give us extra copies, hopefully, of some of our non-legendary creatures. Likewise, Sunbird's Invocation, just so we can cast something off the top. Ancient Copper Dragon is one of the bigger creatures we have in the deck now. Mainly because, you know, with Arni, you want to be getting the 3s and the 4s out and then dropping 2s and 3s to build the board up quickly. But, you know, you've got to have something big at the top end, and Ancient Copper Dragon solves that problem. The damage does the damage. You'll get at least 1 treasure token. You may get 20 treasure tokens. You would be happy with any number in between of treasure tokens. So, you know, keep it going. Chandra, Awakened Inferno. If we can do the emblems with Soulfine, yep, they become a little bit more dangerous because they become shocks every turn. And here come the other damage doublers. We've got Fiendish Duo. If a source would deal damage to an opponent, it deals double that damage instead. So that includes your creatures, your spells, the emblems off Chandra, the pings off the devils that may die, so on and so forth. Along with Fiery Emancipation, it deals triple damage to that player or permanent instead. And City on Fire triples it up again. Can you see where I'm going with this? City on Fire, you may think, okay, you're playing 35 lands. Why are you playing an 8-drop enchantment? It's got Convoke. I've had this down, not in this deck yet, I'll be honest, but in other decks, I've had this down in turn 4. and then my opponents panic, because not many people play that much enchantment removal at the moment. For some reason I don't understand, but it's not common. So this thing is just stupid. To make it all tick together, Inferno Titan's also here. Enter the battlefield at lightning bolt something. If you've got any of the damage doublers or triplers in play, you're looking at a serious amount of damage for 6 mana. 6/6 with potentially 6, well, definitely 3 extra damage, maybe up to 6 extra damage. But keep it in mind, it's amazing. And that's it. This is how I've built Arni at the moment. There's no, what you want to be doing, getting 4 mana, getting these guys into play. That's why we've got more creatures in the 4-drop than anywhere else. And then hopefully when you attack with Arni in play with one of these, you get to put one of these into play, and maybe put one of these into play, and then maybe put this into play. That's what we're aiming to do. Just build up a board really quickly, cheaply. Now, you could look at doing the whole Shrine to Nykthos in here. I'm not going to argue it. It would be a good card to have in this deck. But I haven't needed it yet, and I have won games with this. I've won against several of what I'd call the top decks at the moment. I'm trying to remember what I've played against now. I've played against the one that does all the double proliferate. We've played against Samut. We've played against all sorts of things. Go back. You've got a link down below to Twitch. Go and have a look at the streams from last week. You'll find it. But it is worth picking this card up at the moment. It is really good. But that's it. That is my little take today on Arni Metalbrow. Going to be more Aftermath videos all this week. There may be a treat on Friday if I get the time to record it. Otherwise, I'll have to wait till next week. But hey, I would suggest go and pick up an Arni now, and hopefully by the time you watch this video, that'll solve the problem with the boosters, and I'll be able to open the boosters again. But hey, the rest of the videos this week I'm recording now, so yeah, take care. Let me know what you think. Leave me a comment down below. Please make sure you've hit the sub button. I really appreciate it. I'm seeing at 181 as I record this today, so the more the merrier on the channel. Let your friends know. Go and tell them, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Thanks for watching. Bye.